Fox, are you listening? I want you to hear this. You done fucked it up! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Help for the Guildless. My name is Cole Spire, and I have with me for this first episode of Season 2...
Brakkas.
And we are here to unleash some nerd rage on a couple of things that have come to light over the last couple days. And,
surprise, surprise, it's all directed at Marvel.
So, the first thing I want to talk about is how... What I was referring to before the intro. A few episodes ago, I talked about the Fantastic Four movie. This horrible travesty of a farce of a film. And why I thought it was going to be so horrible. I even listed off reasons. None of them had to deal with Johnny Storm being black. But that is kind of part of it. So I'm going to read this article and then we're going to rage away. This is from comicbookmovie.com. I can put the link in the low bar for you guys. Ever since it was first announced, fans have been saying that Fantastic Four would be both terrible and a commercial failure. Who would have ever guessed that they'd be right? Every comic book nerd that has ever heard about this movie. Anyway, we told you earlier today about the reboot's disappointing Thursday night opening, but things are now looking even worse for the movie, if that's even possible at this point. According to Variety, early estimates indicate that it will struggle to hit $30 million this weekend, a figure which is well below initial projections of $50 million, which would later drop to $40 million after the first wave of reviews. It is likely that it will go even lower than that, and between this and the 9% score on Rotten Tomatoes, Fantastic Four is unmitigated disaster for 20th Century Fox. The budget was $120 million, and they spend tens of millions on top of that to promote it. The last major superhero movie to debut under $35 million was The Green Hornet. I don't know if we could consider that a superhero movie.
It's not.
And 43% of critics liked that one. With Mission Impossible Rogue Nation expected to earn around $27 million this weekend, it could that it will take the number one spot from Fantastic Four, which you guys are planning on watching this weekend. I'm never planning on watching this. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. I will watch it when I don't have to pay for it. And even then, it will be half-hearted so I can laugh at how bad it was. You know about the Roger Corman one, right? The very first Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, my God.
It was the one that was made specifically for Fox to keep the rights for the Fantastic Four. This happened way, way, way back when. The movie never saw the light of day. There are only small clips of it.
There's a reason for
this. Yeah, there's only small clips of it on the internet.
It's collaborative.
Don't start. That was just specifically to keep the rights so that Fox could later on make the movie that they wanted, which was what we got with Jessica Alba and Chris Evans. That Fantastic Four movie did good. It was a little campy, but
that's actually good though, because it's a comic book movie. Campy is really good because, for fuck's sakes, it's a fictional sci-fi story involving superheroes. Camp is gonna happen.
And it was successful. So successful, in fact, they decided to make a sequel. Now, when the movie first came out, it was around the time of the beginning of the superhero movies. We got Blade, Fantastic Four, Punisher.
Blade, you gotta remember, Blade was not a part of the initial comic book series, or comic book wave. Blade came out in 97, 3 years before X-Men ever dropped, and no one even recognized it as a Marvel movie, even though it said Marvel Comics all over the damn credits.
It's still part of that initial toe in the water of, can we make the comic book movies?
I guess so.
But it did well enough that they made a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And Fox fucked it up again. There's a difference between camp and downright stupidity.
Well, yeah.
The Silver Surfer. They had a whole plan for the Silver Surfer to make its own. This was going to split off into the Silver Surfer making its own movie and the whole thing. And then the movie came out.
We even had Lawrence Fishburne voicing the goddamn Silver Surfer. That's fucking badass. That is the equivalent, in my opinion, to Bruce Almighty and who plays God? Morgan Freeman. That voice.
Yeah.
Okay? You cannot defeat that voice.
So, okay, most comic book fans, when you talk about the Silver Surfer, know one thing and one thing alone. How he got his powers. Who he got his powers from. Which is a giant purple-suited man in the universe that eats planets.
Don't diss the purple suit.
I'm just saying everybody knows who I'm talking about when I'm talking about when you say Galactus and the Silver Surfer.
I understand, but don't diss Galactus. He will come to Earth, he will devour the shit out of us, and he will look you specifically in the eye and be like, dumbass purple suit, huh? Fuck you.
And then I will point to the Silver Surfer movie and be like, look, Cloud. You are a cloud. Fox is that way.
You gotta act... Oh, I actually can debate on that one. I can defend that Cloud.
We saw a glimmer of his helmet in the cloud.
You saw spatial debris that literally surrounded the massive ship that is so fucking huge that I don't think Fox really wanted to animate the shit out of that, so they just created a damn cloud.
It's
but on
still
top of that,
cloud.
You see the outlining, the silhouette of Galactus' helmet. At the very least, we got that much.
Counterpoint. X-Men 2. Everybody was talking about it. They actually had a fucking Sentinel.
Yeah.
They animated that one. Give us a hand. Give us a finger.
They barely animated that one.
They still gave it to us.
They gave us a silhouette just like in Fantastic
And
Four.
a head.
Yeah, and then they gave us a CGI head, which was then also put into the actual set itself.
Still gave it to us.
Yes.
Give us a finger.
And then they gave us the finger at the end of the movie with the Phoenix Force.
Well, anyway, after that, it's easy to say that Fantastic Four was not going to be made again. Until the rights were starting to give up. Fox doesn't want to give up the rights to another franchise.
They saw what Sony did with Spider-Man.
And decided to make another movie.
And fucking failed. Pointing out, neither of us have actually seen this movie because we have no intention of seeing this movie. He and I have boycotted this thing from the very fucking beginning. When I found out that they were going to do a revamp, I was like, interesting. And then I read a review on Dr. Doom specifically, and that was when I was just like, I'm done.
He's the blogger.
He's the blogger.
His handle is Dr. Doom.
No, his handle is Doom.
Doom, yes.
And then he apparently gains the moniker of Doctor. Fuck you. Well, I mean, truthfully, Victor Von Doom never actually got a PhD. Not a real one. He literally, when he took over Latveria, created his own fucking PhD from Latveria.
Which I can give respect for Dr. Victor Von Doom. Not this piece of shit who is a blogger.
Well, Dr. Dre doesn't have a PhD either.
He has a PhD in thugonomics.
Ah, yes, we forget the thugonomics.
Anyway, it's not just Dr. Doom. It was the change of the origin. And then
everyone's fucking origin.
And then the non-explanation we got for Johnny Storm being black, which I still don't have an issue with. It's just what I have an issue with is you took a character that has history as being who he is. Even the original Human Torch, before Fantastic Four Human Torch, was a white dude in a red suit.
He was a freaking cyborg, bro. No, actually, he was specifically... what would you call it? An automaton? An android?
Android.
Essentially, it's a robot with human tissue covering it.
Which was white human tissue covering it.
Either way.
My point being, this character has an established history.
Mm-hmm.
You change it without giving us reason other than it's PC.
See, this is where I actually do get the problem with Johnny Storm being black. I've been saying it for a while now. I've been saying it for over a year. I'm actually very upset that Johnny Storm was made to be a black man and Susan Storm stayed white. Why am I upset about this? Okay, first of all, Johnny Storm and Susan Storm are supposed to be twins. Susan Storm is older than Johnny by 2 fucking minutes. This has always been their goddamn story. So when you have a black Johnny Storm and a white Susan Storm, you really got to think what fucking happened in their parents' genetics to create this very fuck up.
Sue could be an albino.
Look, this actually is an anomaly that has actually happened in the past. I'm not even shitting you. There have been dormant fucking genes that have created one twin to be one skin tone and another twin to be another skin tone. It's actually happened. It's extremely rare, but it's actually happened. Yet, from what I read, this is not what happens. No, apparently Johnny Storm's incredibly smart, fucking militaristic, scientific dad decided to adopt Susan Storm. Okay, here's another part of the origin story that they fucking destroyed. Their parents die in a car accident. Yeah, they were fucking military scientists, but their parents die in a fucking car accident together when they're kids. One part of the story for Johnny and Susan is the fact that they took care of each other growing up. This is white teenage girl, black teenage boy. They fucking came together a few years ago. Their dad, fuck you. You've completely destroyed this Storm family. Completely destroyed it by doing this bullshit political correct racism. This is literally Fox showing how racist they are. Why? Because they feel like they need to change the ethnicity of just one member of a team of 4 in order to get that specific ethnic group in the theater. You know what? When I saw a lot of different comic book movies in theaters, there weren't a lot of black cast members. But there sure as fuck were a lot of black audience members. I saw this movie with a shitload of people. The other Fantastic Four, the one from 2004. I saw this with a shitload of black, Mexican, Chinese, white. Actually, there were less white people than there were anything else. But it doesn't matter what skin color you are. Comic book fans don't really give a fuck about the skin color. Do we want more black superheroes in the movies? Yeah. But why don't we just go for the black superheroes? Like the Black fucking Panther, who's actually appeared in Fantastic Four movies. That's a novel concept. Maybe Fox should have actually thought, you know what? I heard about what's going on with Spider-Man. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you back the Fantastic Four. And I think this is
a cut.
We want a cut. We want a bigger cut than what you're giving Sony. I don't know why this guy sounds like George Bush, but he does. And more specifically, why don't you go ahead and throw in the Black Panther in this movie? You know, kind of change things up a bit. Introduce a new fucking hero into the goddamn MCU. Oh, wait. Marvel's already doing that.
And apparently what's supposed to have happened with this one is it's supposed to happen in the same universe that X-Men Apocalypse is happening in.
Jesus Christ, are you fucking serious?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, okay.
Wow.
Talking about our comic book fans. Fox obviously is pandering to the PC movement.
Ugh.
And in the same breath, screwing over the droves of comic book fans that there are for this family. And that's exactly what they are. Marvel dubbed them the first family of comics. Their entire history is well known. They have influences with the Avengers. They have influences with the X-Men. They have influences with Thor himself.
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati.
Marvel Knights.
Everything.
Marvel Defenders.
So much so, and this is just one that I know off of the top of my head, Reed Richards and Tony Stark developed the helicarrier. On top of that, Reed Richards and Hank Pym developed most of the prisons that they house these supervillains in, including the Null Zone that Captain America got stuck in with fucking Red Skull. Can they talk about that? No, because fucking Fox owns the name Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four and Mr. Fantastic. Fuck you, Fox. I hope you're still listening, because fuck you.
I'm pretty sure they're listening to every shitty review and just going, fuck, we fucked up, fuck, this is worse than what Sony did, fuck, god damn it, why didn't we do what Sony did?
Okay, pandering. Why? Why pander? You're not making this. I heard an argument once from someone who was arguing with me, debating with me about this, that it's supposed to draw in new fans. Excuse me. Let me put a timeout on that real quick. Comic book movies are not to draw in new fans. Comic book movies are for comic book nerds to see their heroes on a 6-foot fucking screen and see what we wanted to see in the movies since we started looking at the pictures on the page.
Also fulfilling a lifelong dream of Stan Lee's.
That too. On top of that, how you get new fans? You do the comic book tie-in with the movie, which Marvel won't do because they killed off the first family of Marvel. The Fantastic Four have been killed off in comics. I went Jersey for a second.
Yeah, they were killed off.
They're done. Marvel's not promoting them. Marvel is not writing any more comics about them. They're done. Gone. Absolutely kaput. Because of this. For those who are on Fox's side, Marvel seems kind of petty. No, Marvel saw what was going to happen with this debauchery of a movie and went, we're out. Peace.
Actually, I looked more into that. They haven't completely killed off the characters. The comic books will never be made again until, of course, this bullshit is resolved. But for the time being, while Fox still controls the rights to the characters, Marvel has said they will not produce any more Fantastic Four comic books. Yet at the same time, Reed Richards, Susan Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm all still exist within the Marvel comic universe, literally because they have appeared in so many other comic books, they can exist in those comic books themselves. The Avengers, for fuck's sake. The entire Civil War story involved the Fantastic Four and the Avengers working together.
The Fantastic Four getting split up into two on each.
And yet, at the same time, in the very beginning of the Civil War, the entire Fantastic Four was on one side, and that was with Iron Man, Tony Stark himself.
And then Sue and Reed got into a fight. And anyway.
Actually, it was because Sue really didn't believe in the bullshit that Reed was kind of feeding into, and so Sue and Johnny were like, you know what, let's get the fuck out of here. And Johnny had already been attacked on the street with a fucking bottle to his head. Seriously, who bottled Johnny Storm, you son of a bitch? That was messed up.
But you can agree with me in saying that comic book fans are for, or comic book movies are for comic book fans. And by doing something like this, where the director flat out told his actors and actresses, don't worry about reading the comics because it's going to have nothing to do with it, is kind of rubbing your taint in the face of the fans?
Oh, yeah. No, it's not just rubbing the taint. It is taking the most disgusting, diseased piece of flesh and making them eat this diseased piece of flesh while their assholes are being drilled with a big fucking drill. Like industrial size.
Valid point. But it's... Take Punisher. The first one was a little more realistic than they probably should have gone.
No.
But it was great.
If you're a fan of the Punisher, you know that's exactly what a Punisher comic book looks like.
Yeah, so it did really well. Not as well as they'd hoped, or else we wouldn't have gotten the crap war movie that we got. But
Hey. Warzone was actually pretty cool in my eyes. I love Ray Stevenson, and he really does look like Frank Castle.
I agree, but it still wasn't as good as...
Well, no, that's because they catered too much to the emo side of Frank Castle and not the actual badass side of Frank Castle. You know, the guy that he gets shot in the fucking arm and he still keeps coming at you because he really doesn't give a shit.
But my point is, who knew who the fuck the Punisher was? Comic book nerds. I'll go even one further. Hellboy.
Oh, that, okay.
Who
yeah,
the
that
fuck
one.
knew who Hellboy was? Comic book nerds. That was not a movie made for new fans.
Look,
that was a movie made for comic fans and Ron Perlman to just be awesome.
Look, I'm gonna point out something. Before the Hellboy movie ever came out, I'm not fucking kidding you. You know who Bam Margera is, correct?
Yeah.
Everybody in the world knows who Bam Margera is.
Can't stand the bastard, but I know who he is.
That's fine. Say he came out with the home movie thing, you know, CKY 2K, CKY, CKY 2K, CKY 3, blah blah blah. It was a bunch of home movies of him and his friends doing the goofiest shit they could imagine, which eventually got him his TV show, Bam Margera. He also, before the TV show came out, did a movie based on the actual love story of one of his closest friends, Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn just so happened to be in a very shitty relationship where he was with this girl named Jen, who was this self-absorbed bitch.
Always named Jen.
True. But it's this self-absorbed bitch who decided to break up with him so she could go and suck the dick of some guy who, I shit you not, calls himself Hellboy. In the movie, they use this actual nickname of the character. They didn't even change his ex-girlfriend's name. They didn't give us the last name, but they didn't even change the fact that he dated a girl named Jen who was a complete fucking cunt. On top of that, she really did suck the dick of a guy who calls himself Hellboy. Now, anyone who has ever watched a CKY video or has ever watched a Bam Margera movie would eventually watch this movie called Haggard. I own the fucking movie, or at least I used to. I lost my movie collection years ago. Anyways, Haggard is the movie that I'm referring to. And it's funny because I forget the fucking guy's name, but he's one of the guys from CKY. He's the tall dude who fucking hates mustard. There's an actual prank kid where Bam...
I have no idea what you're talking about. Just continue on.
Anyways, so the guy, he plays Hellboy in the fucking thing. No one knew Hellboy. Everybody thought Hellboy was... I thought Hellboy wasn't even a comic book character. I'm a comic book fan, but I hardly ever read anything that was Dark Horse unless it was specifically Star Wars parodies. Because I didn't care for anything that wasn't X-Men, Avengers, Batman, JLA, all that stuff. Because at the time I was also still a huge Batman fan, and then I started reading more into the character and was just like, oh my god, I'm going to rage on you. And then I saw Dark Horse Comics Hellboy, and I was like, what the fuck? This is a real thing? And I lost my shit. There are two types of people that know who Hellboy is. The first type are the comic book fans who have been reading Hellboy, which is an amazing comic book in general. It's fucking fantastic. I love their take on the occult. I love their take on the whole Antichrist thing. And Hellboy's background is one of the saddest fucking stories, and yet he never lets it really control his motivations and shit. He continues to be himself. The second group of people that knew about Hellboy before the movie were the people that saw Haggard and just so happened to see a fucking comic book that said Hellboy on it. It was just like, wait a second, what's going on here? But chances are the only reason why they saw that comic book was because they saw some nerd at fucking school with it. Yeah. And they were like, ugh, look at this nerd with these comic books. I'm just getting on a skateboard like a real man.
But what I was saying,
I beat those guys' asses, by the way.
More to the point is they were not movies made for new fans. They were made for fans of the comic already. And those fans of the comic who love the movie grabbed their friends and said, you have to come see this movie, and paid money again to see the movie. And so on and so forth until everybody knew who the fuck Hellboy was. This is not what they did with Fantastic Four.
Oh no.
What they did with Fantastic Four is went, fuck the fans.
Yeah.
And apparently another big issue is the Thing wanders around without pants. I know there was a big thing about Dr. Manhattan and his giant blue wang. Imagine the Thing, because they make the Thing 3 times bigger than he really is in the movie, walking around with giant stone wang all over the place.
Wait, they're really showing rock dick in this movie?
I hope to God not, but...
Okay, because from what I understand, from what everything I've seen, he's all smooth down there. Well, smooth as his rock body can be. He is junkless, which is depressing, to be honest.
So he's a Ken doll.
Oh, Ken wishes he was this kind of doll, but still, yeah, he's a Ken doll.
aside from the fact they still shit all over this, and I still refuse to watch it. I'm not gonna watch it. I'd rather watch Roger Corman's cut and take that as a serious film
It's Clover's
than watch this.
One of the most
$120 million and we get this piece of shit. $120 million. Oh, by the way, which a day before Wednesday, before the Thursday debuts, the director went, I had nothing to do with this. This was all the production company and Fox's fault. My idea was this, and I'm sorry you're never going to get to see it. When the director steps out on you before the debut, there's issues.
Clearly, okay, I'm not even going to lie. This sounds a little shady because the director was the asshole who told the actors, don't bother reading the comic books, it's going to be nothing like it.
Yes.
Okay. If I was on set and I had seen it done like, don't even bother reading the comic books, it's going to be nothing like it, it's going to suck. Something along those lines, I'd understand where the director's coming from, like, oh my god, he is so fucking pissed about what he has to do. Or if he said it like, don't even bother reading the comic books, it's going to be nothing like that. That's when I'm like, fuck you. And then to jump out a day before the official drop is, he comes out and says, this was all production company, I had nothing to do with this, I wanted to do it this way, I'm ashamed that you're going to have to see this version. Good luck. That's when I start to panic, like, the fuck you just say?
But it was a different thing than when, like, Jim Carrey did it with Kick-Ass 2. Jim Carrey went, I didn't realize how violent this movie was. I'm going to go against violence. And then everybody went, we got to go see this. This was the director going, later, bitches, I'm out. Bad sign. Bad sign. Imagine, oh, God. Tim Burton. Before the debut of Batman in 1988 or 89 when it came out. 88. The day before it debuted, he goes, I had something else planned. See ya.
If you've ever watched that movie, there's no way in hell he had anything else planned. That is so Tim Burton, it is fucking ridiculous.
You know, but, okay, better example.
He was the first one to get rid of the chonies on Batman, man.
That's true.
They were still there in detail, but it was solid black pants, bro.
Better example. Not Batman and Robin. Batman.
Do not bring that movie up. I was just arguing with my nerd friends on the fucking Facebook page, okay? I was just berating the shit out of somebody, and I was pointing out, do you realize the same neon painted gang that Robin beats the crap out of in the fucking Batman Forever piece of shit movie is the exact same neon painted gang that Batgirl goes and beats the shit out of in Batman and Robin? Like, these fuckers never learn a lesson, apparently.
Batman Forever is coming out. Tim Burton is still connected to it. In a perfect world, this would be great. But the day before it comes out, Tim Burton goes, not what I had planned. I wish you guys could have seen my future vision for Batman Forever.
This is my version.
This is my version. You know,
Joel Schumacher took
over. You wouldn't go see the movie.
I want to dropkick Joel Schumacher so fucking hard, by the way. He ruined Batman for me as a kid, and I was just like, you piece of shit.
But, I mean, it's the same thing. The director pulling out a day before the debut is always a bad thing.
It's a horrible thing.
So, alright, I think we've trashed this movie a little bit more than we probably should have, but
nope.
Fox, you fucked up.